We're very international at the moment, and I know some of you are familiar with Gaurav. He's a Vedic astrologer and teacher from New Delhi in India. He's been working in this field for 25 years, has been a faculty member at one of the prestigious astrological universities in India. He learned Vedic astrology in a traditional teacher-student relationship known as a, please correct me if I get it wrong, Guru Shishna Parampara, which is regarded as the epitome of knowledge transfer and holds extreme significance in ancient astrological texts. His specialisations are wide and include Natal Astrology, Horary Astrology, Lunar Mansion Astrology, KP, which is Krishnamurti Padati Astrology, Nadi Astrology, Electional Astrology, and Omen and Dream interpretations. So an impressive array. But today he's talking to us about Vedic astrology. He's passionate about sharing his extensive astrological knowledge to many through education, teaches internationally, including to students in the US and the UK. His approach to astrology is quite practical, and he believes in karma and that is associated with results as a reflection through planets in individuals' horoscopes.
Akhand mandalakaram vyaptam yen characharam tat padam darshitam yen tasme shri guruve namah. Now, this is a highly praised deity. We praise this deity before commencement of any major event in life. Vedic is derived from Vedas, the ancient Sanskrit texts, which can be dated back 7000 BC. According to Vedas, Vedic Jyotish is the eye of Vedas, or the eyes to read Vedas. Jyotish is a term derived from Jyoti, meaning light, and Ish, meaning Almighty. Light which brings one close to the Almighty. Vedic system has its foundation laid on the principle of karma and karma theory. Karma is a principle in which cause and effect are as inseparable, linked in the moral sphere as assumed in the physical sphere by science. A good action has its reward and a bad action leads to retribution. If the bad action do not yield their consequences in life, the soul begins another existence and in the new environment undergoes suffering from its past deeds. Thus, it is important to understand that karma does not go away. One must either reap the benefits or suffer the consequences of his past actions. Everything that we have ever thought, spoken, done, or caused is a karma, as is also that which we think, speak, or do this very moment of our lives. Vedas divide karma into three different parts or three different kinds. The first is Sanchit. Sanchit is the accumulated karma. It would be impossible to experience and endure all karmas in one lifetime. From this stock of Sanchit karma, a handful is taken out to serve one lifetime, and this handful of actions which have begun to bear fruit and which will be exhausted only on their fruits being enjoyed and not otherwise is known as prarabdha karma. Now, prarabdha, fruit-bearing karma, is the portion of accumulated karma that has ripened and appears as a particular problem in the present life. Kriyaman is everything that we produce in the current life, not in the previous ones. All Kriyamana karmas flows into Sanchit karma, and consequently shapes our future. Only in human life we can change our future destiny. After death, we lose Kriya Shakti, which is the ability to act, and do Kriyamana or do the karma until we are born again in another human body. So, a human body is a very special apparatus which can perform karmas and bear the results of these karmas and completely end the cycle of this reincarnation. Because Vedic astrology heavily believes in the karma theory and the reincarnation. So a horoscope is just the reflection of past janma, sanchit karma, janma being the life and sanchit being the accumulated karma. So whatever the planetary position we see in a chart, it is nothing, it is just the reflection of your past karmic cycles, outer planets. In Vedic astrology or Vedic Jyotish, 9 planets are considered. Sun and Moon being 2 luminaries, Mercury and Venus being the 2 interior planets, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn are considered as outer planets. The ancient sages came across 2 astronomical entities which are calculated mathematically, named Rahu, also known as the North Node, and Ketu, also known as the South Node. They observed that these 2 non-physical, mathematically calculated sensitive points are of great importance and make huge impact over a native's or make a huge impact over a native astrologically. So they were given special consideration and considered as Chaya Graha or shadowy planets in Vedic astrology. So just for the sake of ease, we call all these, the luminaries and the shadowy entities, as planets. The ancient sages were well aware of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, which are named Arun, Varun, and Yam in classics, but were not considered because of 2 reasons. First being, they are not naked eye planets, or they may be visible to naked eye, but for a short duration. So the predictive techniques of Vedic astrology are avasthas of planet. The second technique is a very, very popular technique and a very famous technique that is used, the 4 flag system. Now there is Ashtak Varga, another technique. It is a very famous and popular technique. Gemini Sutras is another technique. Planets' degrees assign them specific role play in life. Arud, another technique which we use here is another system that is called the Dasha system. Another technique that we use is SBC, which is called Sarvato Bhadra Chakra. Another system is Nadi. Another technique I hope a lot of people are familiar with, that is the Nakshatra, the lunar mansions. Another technique is the KP chart system. And then we have the progression charts.
And I think that was a brilliant overview. I mean, I think you've suddenly popped in my head that it's actually such a vast subject.
So yes, well, not a comment really. I was amazed by how many different predictive techniques there are.
So
Yes,
first of all, really thankful to you. Very insightful information.
Yeah, I love his work so far. I'm a fan, of course, of astrology, and I am very interested in everything that Gaurav has to offer us.
Yeah,
all right.
I think we're ready to go. Yeah, thank you, Gaurav.
Yeah.
We're ready. Yeah.
We'll start with the screen share now. Okay. So now we are going to discuss the lunar nodes, which are known as Rahu and Ketu, the North Node and the South Node. Now I would be getting into the detail of these two entities astronomically, mythologically, and astrologically. Rahu represents the ascension of the moon in its precessional orbit around the earth. North lunar node, when moon moves from the south to north in its orbit and crosses the sun's path, that incision point is called Rahu. Astronomically, Rahu and Ketu denote the point of intersection of the paths of the sun and the moon as they move on the celestial sphere. Therefore, Rahu and Ketu are respectively called the north and the south lunar nodes. Now, this is your moon on a gray path intersecting on a descending node. It is called Ketu, and when it is in an ascending node intersecting the sun's path, it is called Rahu. Now, what ancient mythology has to say about Rahu and Ketu is very, very important, because that is the crux where we derive the main impact of these two planets. Now, ancient mythological texts state when the gods and the demons churned the ocean to extract from it the Amrita, the elixir of immortality. Rahu, initially named Swarbhanu, was a demon who had ability to transfigure into anyone else. He deceitfully quaffed the Amrita, the elixir of immortality, quaffed by Mohini, the sun god and the moon god, due to their luminous nature, noticed him and they informed Mohini of his disguise. However, by that time, Swarbhanu had already become immortal. Vishnu cut off Swarbhanu's head, Swarbhanu who quaffed the elixir. Vishnu cut off Swarbhanu's head with a Sudarshan Chakra immediately when it was discovered that he has transfigured into somebody else and has quaffed the elixir of immortality. But Swarbhanu could not die because he was now immortal. But his head was separated from his body, and his head came to be known as Rahu, while his body came to be known as Ketu. Now the dictums. Rahu is the apparent shadow of moon on earth. So these are the dictums, and now we have the astrological dictums. Here is the interesting point now. So Rahu and Ketu both are karmic planets. A person reaps what he sows through his actions or karmas in present life and life to come as later incarnations. Rahu Ketu play important role as such. Rahu and Ketu have their own specific qualities but are natural malefics. Rahu and Ketu also assume the qualities of the sign they are posited in. Rahu and Ketu also behave like the planet they are associated or conjunct with. Now moving ahead, Rahu. Characteristics of Rahu. Now this is the Rahu eclipsing the sun. So Rahu is black in color, it is dark and dirty, it is fatty. It represents hard labor, it represents being courageous, being diplomatic. Ketu. Now Ketu is the infinite shadow of moon on the solar plane, on the celestial solar plane, just like the back part or the later the body of the snake. dark and spotty complexion, smoky color, likes to smoke. Now, especially this can be attached when Ketu is in second house of the chart. I have seen this personally, that a person likes to smoke often. Religious practices occult. Now, the difference between Rahu and Ketu majorly is that Rahu is occult influenced. On the contrary, Ketu is somebody who practices occult, who learns the occultism. So Ketu can make an occultist. It also represents skin problems, because now we will be taking analysis of horoscope and special impact of nodes in a chart. Any thoughts about the 10th house? Okay, I will give a hint. Sun, as we know, is related to authorities or the government, or somebody with associated with the higher authorities or high status.
I think I know whose chart this is. I shall shut up.
But your input is always welcome. Okay, because this is associated with the 4th house, and moon being in the sign of Scorpio here, although it is a debilitation, but somehow the results of this moon is exponentially increased. And as in the primordial chart, starting with the Aries ascendant, we consider the 4th house associated with buildings, with properties, and house in itself. So this person started comes from a family of businessmen or business persons who are dealing or who have been estate developers on a very large scale. So 4th house is very much relevant here. And not to mention, the 4th house has debilitated moon. So there may be a few dissatisfied customers as well. But on the contrary, the 10th house associates with the sun and the north node. So sun and the north node, sun represents your governmental authorities or the ruling authority or the power. That too in the 10th house, which represents your status in society. And Rahu in itself is a very materialistic planet. It shows the dark side of a man's ego, not to mention, I mentioned it earlier very well. So the dark side of ego or the materialistic aspect of it may become so huge that a person may set huge goals for themselves, because this is not just getting associated with any other planet. Not to mention, it is associated with the sun, the largest, the most emphasizing planet of our own solar system. So now I will reveal the personality of this person.
It was Mars in Leo rising that I twigged who it was, because I know that he's a right old steamroller. That's why I see him.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Gaurav. That was really interesting.
That was absolutely brilliant. Really, really enjoyed it. So
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I thought you presented it really, really well. It was very clear. You could see the complexity of it without getting bogged down in it. But I thought the whole presentation, everything was fantastic, and you just crammed so much information in there, but without overwhelming us. So I thought that was wonderful.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Gaurav. It was wonderful.
Thank you, Sharon.
Yeah, you told me that you will answer me by the end of the session. My question was like, if somebody wants to learn in a systematic manner, so what would be your advice?
If any of you are willing to join a module or go through it, you may get in touch with me. I can mention my email at in the chat box.
All right. That will be great. Thank you so much.
I'm
Do you have a
just mentioning-
website with this on as well, Gaurav?
Yes, I do have, but it's a very lame website. I am, because I teach every student on one-to-one basis. I do not conduct a class comprising of many students, because I personally believe in understanding the level of the student and then teaching them specifically to their set of queries, to making them understand how it is functioning. So this is one special part of the way I teach. I do not believe in gathering, doing a gathering and then teaching. I don't want n number of students. I want to teach because I don't want my content to suffer. I want the person to really and really understand the core of that subject. So I only teach on one-to-one basis.
And what would be the duration for the course?
You can get you can contact me for the details.
Okay,
for
I
that,
will. Yeah, thanks.
if you are interested.
Brilliant.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
again,
you.
Gaurav.
Thank you very
Bye-bye,
much.
everybody.
Bye, everybody.
That was great.